stop arguing about what rhymes and talk about some football. Don't, don't, don't. All right, Adelaide.
What round, Sam?
Oh, I want to say round 16. Round 17. I'm living in the past. It's round 17.
Come on, buddy.
Round 17, Marvel Stadium football.
Friday night.
I want to say we can
Under the
have...
big lights.
I can't remember what the crowd we can have is. 35?
I
30?
don't know what the
25?
restrictions are on
It
that.
was a lot more. It's more than
Mm.
25. Anyway.
Roof open too, isn't it?
Yeah, because it has to be an outdoor stadium
Yeah.
to get some more people.
They're the facts.
They are the facts. In comes Gleeson. Out
The Marty
goes
party.
Ham and Heppel. Now, they've done it to me again with the Medi sub.
Yeah, well, Guelphy was that
Guelphy,
last week, so...
Was he?
So,
Gleeson and Guelphy are in effectively. Ham and Heppel are out. So
that means they'll name a medical sub.
Yeah, Guelphy stays in because he was a medic. I'm still wrapping my head around that whole thing.
If it'll be Colt, what's his name? Tom Cutler, sorry.
Well, Cutler's starting. Cutler's in.
Okay. Yep,
He's in. Adelaide lose Luke Brown, who is a very good small defender. Taylor Walker, who's obviously very good forward. Their medi sub from last week, Haitley, out for Elliot Himmelberg and Lachlan Murphy.
Yep.
I think off last week, big forwards, Hawkins, coming up against Tex would have worried me a lot.
Yep.
So I think it might be fair to say James Stewart, he's sitting there breathing a sigh of relief, which is fine. So that's nice. We don't have to worry about him. I know you want to play teams at their best, but they still have Thilthorpe, who for a first year player, I believe, he's been
very,
very good, capable of a bag. Himmelberg, I assume, being the in for Adelaide.
He's 200 centimetre forward, so he's not.
Is he related?
He'll be the one that Stewart will have to play on. He'll still give obviously some issues, but he's obviously not the talent or the ability of the big Tex.
Not the big Tex, no. 198 centimetres, 94 kilos, so fairly lean.
I've got 298 kilos, so
some
discrepancy.
This is probably.
I've got mine from the AFNL.
AFNL. Well, I got mine from Wiki, so let's go to the Adelaide website.
Well, that's where I'm at.
Oh.
afc.com.au.
Yeah, careful, you'll get a virus. Not that sort of virus. 200 centimetres, 98 kilos. All right, we'll trust that over Wikipedia. Don't use Wikipedia, kids. Still fairly lean. For 200 centimetres, that's fairly lean. Not Nick Cox lean, but fairly lean.
So he's obviously their key forward in replacement.
Yeah, well, he's in for Tex.
Lachlan Murphy's a small forward, I think, by memory.
Yes. The name... Really should do research on these guys before I hit record.
No, they play for other teams. Who cares about it?
Yeah, small is an understatement. He's defined as a medium forward at 175 centimetres. I would think that's fairly small.
That shoe's bigger than that.
Accurate. He's played 8 games this year for 4 goals. So possibly a fairly quiet year, but nonetheless is playing. Now, I did some research.
Yep.
Unheard of, I know.
This will be brilliant. I can sense it.
Last time we played the Crows, round 8 last year, we played them at Adelaide Oval. It was a disgusting game of football. I don't know if you remember this one. This is the one we actually watched together. It was super adorable. Awful game of football. We waltzed in thinking we should smash them because they were quite poor. We thought we were quite good. We scraped over the line by 3 points, and it was a pretty, even though it was a win, it was a pretty big low point, I think, for us. From that side, from that side, to now, 12 changes for each side. Don't you already knew this? Don't patronise me. Out for us, Bell Chambers, Cahill, Francis, Ham, Mitch Hibbard, Hurley, McGrath, McKenna, McKernan, Sard, Townsend, and Zahurakis.
Wow, some decent and ordinary players in there.
Yeah,
Well.
bit of a mix. And then in is kept going to call him Tom Stewart. He's had all the names: James Stewart, Nick Hind, Guelphy, Cox, Stringer, Wright, Jones, Waterman, Draper, Cutler, Perkins, and Hooker. So from that, I'm reading basically in forward line: Stringer, Wright, Jones, Hooker, all coming into this side for the last time we played Adelaide, which wasn't that long ago, really.
No, well, what round was it last year? Just out of curiosity.
Round 8 of a
Oh, yeah. Okay.
17-game season, so halfway through.
Yeah. Fair enough.
26th of July, so it's less than a year ago.
Well, there you go.
Adelaide, look, the names mean a little bit less to me, but out goes Luke Brown, Brad Crouch, Matt Crouch, Hamill, Hardigan, Tom Lynch, McAdam, McCasey, McPherson, Stengel, Talia, and Walker. In comes Butts, Kelly, Murray, Scholl, McHenry, Pedler, Thilthorpe, Frampton, Sloan, Rowe, Berry, and Schoenberg. So some decent names there for Adelaide. I mean,
yeah, some okay names, but by that I'm saying that our list sounds better.
our ins are better than their ins, and you think, I mean, Matt Crouch obviously in that list would be quite a handy one for them to have back, as would Tex Walker. In that last game, the stats were actually quite close. We had 5 more disposals, 26 more tackles, which is quite considerable, only 2 more inside 50s, and we were +8 on clearances. I would say Adelaide's midfield's gotten probably a little bit better, just with Keys. He's come along a bit.
Yeah, but
Our midfield's gotten a lot better.
And Adelaide, the 16th ranked most uncontested possession team in the league, so they don't like to go near the ball.
So 16th for contested possessions against. So they give away the
they
third
give away
most.
The other teams really get a lot of midfielders get a lot of the footy.
That's good news for Zach.
If you've got the multi, get on Parrish and Merritt to get more than 35 possibly.
This is a family program. We don't talk about betting. What was the stat you told me? Merritt is what?
Zach Merritt leads the league for uncontested disposal on 343.
Who is second in that category? McRae? Oh, I thought you had it up. Okay, sorry.
No, that was just I'd read.
The question to make you look foolish. Good.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome. Well, that's good. So Zachy Merritt, pencil him in for a big one.
The other one I'll pop up with some information too, just for the listeners, for Truck, because he's listening.
Yeah, you Truck if you're listening. Yep. It's my line.
The Bombers enter the round 17 ranked number 1 in pressure differential on 0.9 positive. The Crows sit last in this category.
So we put more pressure on.
So we pressure. We pressure a lot. They don't, and they don't contest. They're not very good at contest football. So, hence, we should win the footy at the clearances, kick it forward a lot. That's about how the game should go.
Well, I think the last 2 weeks, despite playing good teams, we've won centre clearances, and it's been that kick forward.
I don't know if we've won centre clearances. We've certainly been right at the heart.
We've had more centre. We definitely had more against Melbourne, and I thought we had more.
We lost the around the ground clearances to them.
Now, I know that there is more...
I think we have more inside 50s than both the last 2 teams too.
Definitely Geelong, yes. I know there is more to pressure than tackles, but I'm just going to go and have a little squeeze.
It's a good starting point.
It is a good starting point. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th for tackles overall, and Adelaide are 12th. So not awful, not a huge...
So now we know some stats. What does the effect? What's the effect of someone like Heppel, and probably not Ham. But you want to say something?
Oh, I had that reversed. So in actual fact, Adelaide have more tackles than us. They have 905. We have 842. I had it around the wrong way. Apologies.
So now knowing the stats, we think about what effect will Heppel have out of the team. Obviously, Ham won't have a massive. I don't think a massive effect. I did see Melbourne are interested in him. I thought that was hilarious.
We'll come back to that.
Will Guelphy and or Gleeson obviously is this straight swap for Heppel. Probably not to the same level. And I assume then that Guelphy will become a winger or play multiple roles, but mainly a winger.
Well, he is that good utility. If he needs to go half
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
he can. Otherwise, yeah, play on the wing.
Yep.
I think Ham does good things. It's probably just a little bit of what I would associate with Kyle Langford is just a bit of the attack of the fumbles or attack of the I don't know what to do
I
next.
like to put those two in the same sentence, but go on.
Langford from a couple of years ago. The frustrations we had with Langford, I think, is probably what I see in Ham now. I don't think he's an awful footballer, but he just makes some poor decisions.
I don't think he's an awful footballer. I just worry about his size and the role he's trying to play.
Yes. So, we think we're a little bit better. Well, we're a lot better than what we were 12 months ago in the midfield, definitely.
I think we're better in the forward line.
Adelaide are a little bit better in their midfield. I would say Keys is a good player. Keys has been good
last
this year,
though, didn't they?
Yeah, but he's sort of come on. He's come on.
They're like Matt Crouch, so that's.
Yeah. I'm biased because I got Keys.
Yeah, I know he's in your fantasy team.
Our forward line is better than our forward line 12 months ago. Whether or not their defence is,
I don't think
they've lost Daniel Talia. That's a big out from that back line.
And our defence, I would say, is probably better than it was last year.
I don't know about that. Hurls is out, and they are all sort of defenders who are playing their first year as defenders. So, well, that's harsh. Laverde and Stewart. We had Ridley last year. I think Ridley hasn't gone up or down. I think he's just the same solid, good player.
Agree.
We've lost Sard and got Hind, like for like, and they're on a par maybe. Hind's been better this year than Sard. I know Sard has good qualities, but Hind has been better this year.
If we were moneyballing this, then Hind is
value for money, absolutely.
Yeah. I guess the other interesting thing too for me is that we are 12th or something. What are we on the ladder?
12th. Yep, that's right.
Yep, we're one game in front of Adelaide. Not that that matters, but I wonder: do we still believe we're a finals chance with the results from last week? Because we weren't expected to win last week, but the results of Richmond losing and
we looked at this, me and you, in one of our many chats, and we went through the ladder predictor, had us losing to Melbourne, Geelong, and the Bulldogs, the teams well and truly above us.
Yep.
And we had us beating the teams around us and Sydney. We expected Sydney to drop a bit more than probably what they have. If that happens, we can scrape into finals. As soon as we lose, if we lose to Adelaide, GWS, Sydney, all these teams that we play around us, then we are done. There's other games too. Like we play North Melbourne, and I think they've played some decent footy, and they might start posing a threat to some teams in the bottom half of the ladder, especially as the year goes on. We play Gold Coast up there. Gold Coast are quite capable of playing.
But the point of the fact here is that this week, we think if we can play the footy we think we can play, then our good footy is better than Adelaide's good footy.
I think, yes.
Yeah.
Adelaide are quite capable
but even with the players we have out, they have some decent players out too.
Yeah. I've been impressed by Adelaide this year. I thought they would be down there with North, and they've actually played some really good football at times. They beat Melbourne. Let's not forget they were the first team to beat Melbourne.
Yep.
Tex out hurts because he's been a big goal scorer.
Tex is massive out for them, I think. Because it's just not about the goal scorer, it's the structure he leaves behind. Because what's his name? Not Himmelberg. Yeah, Himmelberg won't play a similar role. Like he's not going to lead up at the footy like Tex does and really drag defenders out and all that sort of stuff. He's just going to be being at height that he's going to stand more in the goal scoring, and they're going to bomb it into him, I assume.
Yes, you would assume. I just want to have a look at points for and points against. So if I can get my orientation right here, we are actually third in the competition for points for. So we score well.
Really?
We score well.
Wouldn't have said that after the last 2 weeks, but anyway.
And that is around the right way. Bulldogs are on 14.69, Brisbane 13.97, and we're there in third on 13.25. In terms of points against, points for Adelaide are 15th in that regard, so not the highest scoring a team.
Nope.
Points against, Adelaide have conceded the second most in the comp, and we've conceded the fourth most in the comp. So we concede a lot. I mean, it's only
they concede more.
46 points over 15 rounds. So on average, we don't concede that much less than them per game. But we do score a lot more. So that's surprising, given our issues with our forward line, as you say, the last 2 weeks. That's a surprise.
Well,
but we have had
the thing, but 3 weeks ago we had two guys that were in high 20, like Hooker and Tipmoody had kicked 28, 29, whatever goals each, and Stringer had kicked about 21 or 2 or something like that. So we had guys that were kicking well. It's just the last 2 weeks, for whatever reasons, our forward line haven't scored as much. That's because we've come up against two teams that defend well, partly.
Two very good teams, yeah.
And personally, because I think we've been stretched in that ruck department, and that's hurting us in the forward line. Because when, as I said last week, I said that I still think that I don't like Peter Wright being dragged into the ruck all the time, because it leaves Hooker by himself. That means that he's dealing with two tall defenders. Now, in this game, that shouldn't be such of an issue, because Tali's out and their other defenders. Well, Hooker should be able to kick a goal.
Yes. You would think he's more likely to get better hands on the ball because he's not playing against the quality of opposition that he's played against in the last 2 weeks. But this is what we're saying, or what we have said, is that Hooker gets the chance because he's got good form before the last couple of weeks. He gets the go to prove himself. If he plays against Adelaide this week and then North next week and isn't able to produce much, then you've really got to start questioning. We do have, just on your Coleman medal sort of chase, not really a chase for these players, we've got 3 in the top 25 players. So Stringer has 24 goals, which is towards the end of that 25. Hooker has 30 and Waller has 31. Waller is around guys like Toby Green, Lance Franklin, Bailey Fritsch, Charlie Cameron. So
Toby Green's a good one to be next.
They're not that far off the pace. But their last 3 weeks, Waller as well, have been quiet. But Stringer's the one that's been able to then kick 3 or 4.
Produce, What's just out of interest, what is Mackay on? Or McKay?
Big Harry, I wish you'd asked me that before I closed the tab. That's all right, I'll get there. Harry's leading still, 46, and second is actually Tex on 41. So shows you how good Tex has been.
Yeah, and that's a good out for us from that.
Yes.
To take a positive out of that.
I prefer not to have that. I don't like having excuses, we didn't have Tex. Yeah, I'd rather bet your full strength. But
it's what it is. You've got to deal with what's in front of you.
That's right, you can only beat the team you play.
Yeah. So why will we win, Sam?
Oh, all right. That's not my question.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get you.
I think if we can win the ball out of the middle, and I think we need to see some better disposals going inside 50 still, but I think if we get the ball in there enough, we will score enough to win. I don't think it's going to be like the last couple of weeks where the ball will just come straight back out. I don't really know if that answered your question, but
so
clean ball out of the middle and good ball use going inside 50.
If we kick the ball forward more than they do.
Yeah, if we score more, we'll win, is basically what I'm saying. It's an awful answer to that question.
That's what you said, not me.
Look.
Why will we lose, Sam?
Because they kick more points than us. I think if our ball use...
This is no wonder Trucks listen to this, because he's getting some information.
Insight.
Oh, wow, I'm writing that shit down.
Yeah.
They kick more.
I think it's ball use for me. I think our system is good enough, but our skills can let us down. So if the ball use is good enough, we win because I think we've got better players than they do. If our ball use is poor, then we will struggle to score again.
I'd be very disappointed if we lose this game because of a couple of those things with just the stats. When you look at the data, you look at the fact that everything points towards us just being a bit better. Not a lot better, just a bit better. Now, the enthusiasm that we've read about around the club and around the team is there. They all feel like all these re-signings, another re-signing, obviously a great re-signing during the week with Parrish. They all feel like we're on the right path. So this is one of those really important games that they come out and show that. Because look, I don't expect us to be beaten. I'd love to beat Geelong and Melbourne, but I don't expect it. I expect us to be beating Adelaide and teams that are below us definitely, and being maybe sneaking away with a win around teams that are around us, like
Yeah.
GWS and whatnot. So this is a really important game for me. Like, I want to see those things that we've talked about. I want to see I want to see 56 inside 50s to 30. And look, if they kick dead straight, like say they kick 10 goals 3 and we kick 7-7, and we're in trouble, that'll suck. But that I want to see that sort of just getting it in there.
Yes, and we've had enough ball inside 50.
Especially
last week.
I want to see more of it. I want to see more of it now against the worst team.
I don't think Adelaide have really got matchups to deal with
Stringer.
Parrish. Well, Stringer, but out of the midfield, like Parrish is.
Well, Keys might play a more defensive role.
But then who have they got winning the actual ball?
Laird.
Yeah, okay, Laird's actually. I thought he was off halfback.
No, he plays as a midfielder.
I thought he was named on halfback. I'm just looking at the team.
They always name him there, but he plays in the midfield.
He's named in there. Like you say, I just think we have a little bit better players, just enough, especially in the midfield. I think that's where we're a lot better than what they are. Laird is good. Sloan can be good. He's a good player, but might be.
The ruck might be one issue, but Rory Laird.
Riley O'Brien?
Riley O'Brien, one of the other Urs at the team.
Yep.
He hasn't been as good as he has other years. Like, he's probably been a bit down. No, he's saying that he'll probably have the best game for the year. But if Draper can just deal with him, and nullify, I guess.
Well, you break even.
Yeah, just trying to break even there, and then leave it to the midfielders to do their thing. Then, I really, as I said, I'd be very disappointed if we lose this game.
I think Riley O'Brien's a good matchup for Draper.
Because
he's not well, he's not the strongest either. Like, he's a good ruckman, but he's not really the super athletic, but he's not really the super strong either. Like, your Goldsteins of the world who are seasoned strong ruckmen, tough opponent, but maybe just Riley O'Brien not being as strong and as athletic. Maybe Sammy can just be a bit aggressive and play his game, not have it dictated by his opponent, kind of thing. I think all you ever want out of your ruck really is you break even, because your mids, if you're getting smacked in the ruck, your mids will read their taps anyway. It's better if you can get the ball yourself, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
It's about around the ground. I think the influence a ruckman can have around there. Like, I want Draper to be taking marks in that defensive half, or even sneaking forward and kicking a sausage roll or two. Like, they've got to. I agree with you. You've got to be nullify in the centre, but you've also got to influence around the ground as a big fella these days.
It's a good thing the roof's open, because Sammy will get his ball drop going.
Don't you knock people with a bad ball drop?
It is woeful. Why do we win? I should ask you the same question, then we'll wrap up.
I think we understand why. As I said before, that I think that we're a better team with and I'm saying like a little bit better polish. Hopefully that'll show in the game.
Yeah. What's the weather meant to be tomorrow? Actually, Melbourne.
112 degrees.
That's it. Are you alright? Because the roof will be open regardless. Yeah. So 13 and partly cloudy, no rain. Okay, good. I think rain would change all that, especially at Marvel. That's weird.
We're ordinary in the rain.
Yeah. Nothing else to add? Well, sorry. Give us a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip with Sam and
Nath. We nearly got through without a jingle.
I think we should have a jingle. Everyone, put a comment in for a jingle. We're happy to add something.
Who wins and by how much, please?
Bombers win, clearly.
Okay.
1 to 39. I'll be putting more money.
Don't talk about betting.
Well, you just asked me who you think's going to win.
Give me a margin. Don't give me a margin range.
28 points.
Okay. Otherwise, I could just say Essendon by 0 to 3,000. Get on it.
Stupid.
Yeah, it is. That's my point.
28 points. I'd
28.
just enough.
I'm gonna go uber ambitious
Oh God, we're gone.
and just say Dons by 47.
No, we're gonna lose now. You've
That's my
jinxed
tip.
us, Sam.
I think we're due for maybe one of those games where we just go, holy crap, we're actually not bad at football. Um,
Oh,
I don't think we've been awful the last
yeah,
couple of
no, no.
weeks. It's
Let's
just
hope
been
so.
forward line. If the forward line get going, we can score. Clearly, we can score. So
I think even in this one that even with an ordinary forward line, I think we can still beat them.
I'd love to see Harry have a 5 goal game or something like that, just to
See that.
break out.
I'd love to see Nick Cox, or I tell you who I'd love to see. Jenkins.
Try
Perkins.
again.
Sorry, I did
Perkins.
try again.
Oh,
Wrong
Jesus.
player. Perkins kicked 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'd rather Jones because he's the key forward, not the midfielder.
Oh.
I'd like to see one of those kids just grab the game by the balls and dominate.
Now I was worried about their sort of if they were wearing out, but I did notice too with the draw coming out over the next few weeks that we've got a 9-day break after this game.
Yes, we
So
play
I
Sunday
reckon
next
you
week.
could keep playing them that on that sort of theory that if you can manage them through a 9 days, that's that's pretty much a bloody break.
It's a
Then
holiday.
we should be able to manage those young kids if they get through this game again, of course.
Yeah. Like I said, I would like to see them really, really dominate a game. I don't think we've seen that. Cox has had a few good games. Perkins has had a few good moments. Harry's kicked 2 or 3 once, maybe 3.
Three,
Other
I
than
think.
that, ones and twos.
Yep.
Just would like to see it. I mean, we've seen enough from Harry in moments of taking marks and pack marks, that sort of thing. But
Mm.
just have a bag, son.
Well, I think, as I said, I haven't looked at the age. It'd be an interesting stat to look at, like average age of these two teams, because I wouldn't have thought Adelaide are rolling with a pretty old team. Like they're a fairly youngish team. Like there'll be a couple of older players in there, like Laird and he's not playing yet. I mentioned before, so I think that'll be good for our younger players that they won't have such massive big bodies like Melbourne and Geelong carry, a lot of big body midfielders and big body defenders. That there'll be, guys that you're not going to get smashed by. You got
Um,
by fudged enough, sort of filled enough.
well, just before we wrap there, by average age, we're
Mm.
14th, Adelaide are 18th, meaning Adelaide are the youngest.
There you go. There you go. That's interesting.
And amazingly, more so than that, is that Geelong aren't the oldest.
Yes, they are.
Well, Geelong are 25.3 average age, St Kilda are 25.4. Please tell me that was this year. Yes, 2021. Excellent.
That's unbelievable.
Games experience, we are 16th and Adelaide are 17th. So quite comparable there on both fronts.
And that's really, I think that's really interesting. It's again, it'll be a good test for us against this team, and I think
without Tex,
Hmm.
I'm fairly confident. If they had Tex, I'd be sitting here thinking it's a real 50-50.
Yep, I agree.
And one bloke shouldn't make that much difference, but
No, but it's been a bit of an Achilles heel for us the last few weeks as the
big
key
forwards.
forward.
Yeah.
And that's okay because we're still sorting that sort of stuff out.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Good chat. We will talk on Sunday, hopefully after a win.
That's the chat with Sam and Nate. That's the chat we're all about.
If you've made it this far, I apologise. Chat soon.